Secretary of State Antony Blinken has wrapped up his first visit to China, where he met President Xi Jinping and other leaders. Officials say that they agreed to at least try to reduce tensions in the U.S.-China relationship. And before he left the country, Blinken spoke with Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent and Face the Nation moderator Margaret Brennan, who joins us now from Beijing with the wonders of satellite. Margaret, good morning.
Good morning to you. Well, Tony, there were no breakthroughs on tough issues, but the talks did not break down. And that's seen as progress. Now the two nuclear powers have agreed to try to stabilize this very complicated and tense relationship.
It's a work in progress. This is something that we need to do in the interests of both of our countries.
Secretary Blinken left Beijing without achieving a major U.S. goal. President Xi Jinping still has not agreed to open contact between the U.S. and Chinese militaries. Cut off since August, the U.S. is concerned that a series of provocative actions by China's military, like this fighter jet buzzing a U.S. surveillance aircraft in the South China Sea, raise the risk of miscalculation.
During the Cold War, the U.S. and the Soviet Union had that hotline. Is that the kind of thing you're imagining?
It's less a hotline and more regular engagement, regular communication, so that they understand what we're doing and not doing.
Espionage is also a top concern. China expanded a listening post in nearby Cuba in 2019 to surveil the U.S.
How widespread is this in Latin America?
So we've been taking steps over the past couple of years, diplomatically, wherever we've seen China trying to create that kind of presence. We've been in there pushing back against it, and we've had some success in doing that. This is nothing new.
Another area of concern, China's role in fueling the production of deadly fentanyl.
Do you believe that the Chinese state can really turn that up and turn that down?
Yes. Yes. We need to see much greater cooperation when it comes to fentanyl.
I've had lawmakers in the U.S. say that this is done intentionally by the Chinese state. Do you believe that?
We've seen cooperation from them in the past, and that's made a difference. That halted more or less over the last few years.
He did express optimism on other issues, including the fate of 3 Americans the U.S. government says have been wrongfully detained.
Are we in a place, though, as two governments where you're negotiating or even talking about a prisoner release, or is this just...
Yes, we are.
You are?
We are.
And there's progress?
Again, I don't want to get into the details, but we are very actively talking about that.
Critics of the Biden administration point to images like this propaganda photo shown on Chinese TV to argue that Blinken looked too eager to follow China's lead. But Blinken argues it would be irresponsible not to negotiate.
What made this trip worth it?
Oh, look, I think we were in a place where the relationship was increasingly unstable. I think we've injected some greater stability into it.
Margaret, on that point, before I let you go, did Secretary Blinken give you any indication that President Biden might actually meet with President Xi in the coming months?
Well, Tony, there's a very good chance they meet this fall. Secretary Blinken told me that President Xi may come to the United States, go to San Francisco in November, and may meet with President Biden there at a summit of regional leaders. In the meantime, you'll see more cabinet officials come here. The Treasury Secretary is expected soon. And since the United States and China are the world's 2 largest economies and so intertwined, that's important. I did ask Secretary Blinken if President Biden would come to Beijing. He said, never say never, but a lot is riding on stabilizing this tension. Tony?
Wow. Margaret Brennan with a big interview for us out of Beijing today. Margaret, thank you very much.